A Most Violent Year comes out this week, and looking at Oscar Isaac's hairdo in all the trailers got us feeling really nostalgic for the mob movie classic Goodfellas. It also kind of made us nostalgic for Blow and Extramarital Affairs, but we'll save that for another episode, okay? Before we get into this, I will warn you that this is not a spoiler-free Things You Didn't Know. I mean, if you haven't seen Goodfellas by now, you're a jerk-off anyway, but I just wanted to put out the warning. All right, enough talk about being a jerk-off or cheating on your wife and doing tons of sweet, sweet cocaine. Here are 7 things you didn't know about Goodfellas. Probably.
Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
Let's start off with a thing about this scene where the guys are all celebrating after a great score. Because who doesn't love a successful robbery, right? Well, I guess technically the person getting robbed doesn't love it, but anyway, you can see how the scene starts off with all the guys cracking up. Well, that's all thanks to Paul Sorvino. Before each take of the scene, Sorvino told a different joke to get everyone laughing. After 6 or 7 takes, he started to run out of his A material and his jokes weren't quite as funny. Still though, good on you, Paul Sorvino, for getting those genuine laughs into the film.
Why don't you go f*** yourself, Tom?
Goodfellas is full of actors who, later on, starred in The Sopranos. One of the more memorable ones is Michael Imperioli, who plays Spider. Now, this scene where Tommy kills Spider is critical for Tommy's character development. You know, his development into a total psychotic dick. But originally, Warner Brothers wanted this scene taken out. They thought it was too brutal and would make Tommy too unlikable, which is like the whole point of the scene, Warner Brothers. Come on! Also, while filming this part, where Tommy is pumping Spider full of lead, Michael Imperioli threw himself backwards into the bar so hard that he cut his hand on a pitcher and had to go to the hospital. The incident left everyone on set shaken up for the rest of the day. Yikes. Oh, and one more quick Goodfellas Sopranos crossover bonus type thing. Remember how Tommy shoots Spider in the foot, before he kills him a few scenes later? Well, Sopranos has a bit of a callback to that in this episode where Christopher shoots the baker in the foot. Just a little tipping of the hat to the whole Spider-Christopher connection.
You shot my foot!
It happens.
Next thing. Since we're talking a bit about Tommy's brutality, we can't leave out a thing about this scene where he's pistol whipping Billy Batts. Just a classic pistol whipping scene. The real Henry Hill said that Goodfellas was more than 90% accurate in depicting real events, but they weren't totally accurate right here. The real-life beating of Billy Batts was so hardcore the gun actually fell apart in Tommy's hand while he's beating Billy with it. No wonder they thought the guy was dead.
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Joe Pesci's portrayal of Tommy as a sick and a hothead was another thing that Henry Hill said was very true to life. But most people don't know that the real Tommy DeSimone, was 6'2" and built like a prize fighter. Pretty much the exact opposite of Joe Pesci. With Pesci's version of Tommy as a short guy, you can sort of figure he just has a Napoleon complex making him act that way.
What the f*** are you looking at? You're fucking moron.
As for why the real Tommy was the way he was, well, maybe he was just crazy as shit. Ultimately, the real Tommy got whacked for killing Billy Batts, which we see in the movie, but also for killing Ronald Foxy Giroth, who was John Gotti's protege. So, that's a nice little mafia history lesson for you. I feel like I'm in danger now that I know that. Next thing. You may have known all that stuff about Tommy. I doubt it, but maybe you did. So here's something you may not have known about his execution scene. That man right there is Martin Scorsese's dad, Vinny. And here he is again in prison making the sauce. Now, this sauce, later on in the movie, was actually made by Martin Scorsese's mom, Catherine. Here she is in the movie playing Tommy's mom. Martin Scorsese's parents were on set pretty much every day. And they weren't just making sauces and doing bit parts. They were also pressing the collars on all the mob guys' shirts. Martin Scorsese felt that his parents were the only ones who knew how to do it properly. Makes sense to me. I mean, as long as they were hanging around set anyway, might as well put them to work. Remember the prosecutor towards the end of Goodfellas? The guy who's telling Henry Hill that he's totally f***ed unless he becomes a rat?
We're basically your only salvation.
Well, that guy is playing himself. That's the real Edward McDonald, who really was the prosecutor who pushed Hill into the witness protection program and sent the real Jimmy and Paul to the pokey. When production was scouting McDonald's office as research for the movie, he more or less volunteered to play himself in Goodfellas, which is a super ballsy move, McDonald. After a screen test, Scorsese was into it, and now Edward McDonald is immortalized in one of the greatest mob movies of all time, playing himself, Edward McDonald. I'm kind of jealous, and I don't mind admitting it.
I'm an average nobody. Get to live the rest of my life like a schnook.
Let's wrap things up by talking about the very end of Goodfellas, where Tommy basically shoots the audience point blank. It may remind you of James Bond, or some other instance where you've seen a guy shoot right at the camera. But it's actually an homage specifically to this, the final shot of the Great Train Robbery from 1903. It's a classic short film that clearly influenced Martin Scorsese. A way to go highbrow with your references, Marty. You don't mind if I call you Marty, right? Alright guys, let us know if this got you in the mood to rewatch Goodfellas or Godfather or any other mob classic, or if it just got you in the mood for some meatballs. For me, it's a little bit of both. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out Cinefix.com and subscribe for more true-ish things about movies and sometimes sweet, sweet cocaine right here on Things You Didn't Know.